What's going on, guys? So, I was actually up the other night, pretty late, looking at home values. So I'm searching on platforms like Zillow, like Trulia, like Redfin, like all of those sites, and I ran across some numbers. Actually, I had my realtor run some numbers as well. But this discussion I want to have with you guys tonight is about knowing how to follow trends in the marketplace. This is a skill that is very undervalued when it comes to real estate investing, is having savvy or having that intuition when it comes to understanding the market and understanding which direction the market is going to go in. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. We're not genies. We can't predict things with exact certainty. But if you pay attention to certain markers, if you pay attention to certain trends, if you pay attention to the news around you, and if you're on the ground and then if you're in the field on a daily basis like I am, in areas like Newark, Irvington, East Orange, like that, those surrounding areas, I know the numbers there like the back of my hand. I have my fingers on the pulse in areas like that because this is my stomping ground. This is where I'm doing my business, where I'm getting money at. So I have a vested interest in understanding the market there and knowing the numbers a lot of the times before realtors even know it. A lot of the times before brokers even know it. Because me as an investor, I can rehab a property, put it on the market to sell it, or sell it off market to a private end buyer, and I'll know about the actual comps and what it appraises at before realtors know, before anybody else knows. So sometimes I could be slightly ahead of the game. Not just me, any investor that understands the game and the market and understands how to look at things. So let me bring you back to when I picked up a four-family. The four-family house that I'm working on right now, that you guys see me working on. I picked this house up about a year ago. And picking that house up, everyone doubted what potential that house had or doubted what the actual value was going to be after the house was complete. Me, following the market, following the trends, having an understanding of the market, knowing that in spite of what numbers are actually there with, sold appraisals, certain type of properties are what we consider outliers. They don't fit the norm. They are unicorns, and they're not. You don't see these things every day, and sometimes the market won't really reflect that because there's not a lot of them out there. So, like 2-family houses, 3-family houses in Newark, there's a ton of those being sold. So you have many comps. There aren't the same thing when it comes to 4 families does not exist. There are not a lot of 4 families that's being sold. Most 4 families are being held on to, and that's always been the case since I've been investing in this area. It's never been an abundance of 4 families on the market. A ton of 3 families, a ton of 2 families, and of course single family houses have always been around, but not a lot of 4 families. So Newark had a situation where you would have 3-family houses appraising for more than 4-family houses. And that should never be the case. People didn't understand why and how that was happening, but it really just boiled down to the comps that were available. And that's all lenders have to go off of, are comps. So if you have an abundance of 3-family houses that are selling, you have many different examples to pick and choose from an appraisal standpoint when it comes to understanding the value of a property. Now, in the case of 4 families, there are not a lot of comps. Comps are very hard to come by, true comps, where a house, let's take my 4-family house, and 3 to 4 weeks is going to be complete, and this is going to be a totally renovated, full gut rehab from top to bottom, You name it, I put everything in it that you could possibly put in it. It's going to be vacant and it's going to go on the market. So this is a luxury 4-family house, and something that's comparable to this does not exist on the market in Newark. It just doesn't exist. When you see a 4-family for sale in Newark, it's usually an older property that's fully occupied, that has tenants in it. The house probably wasn't renovated in 20 to 25 years. And those houses are being sold in the 400s and 500,000s. So you can't compare that house to the house that I'm about to put on the market. And understanding that and banking on the fact that appraisers will more than likely understand this and look outside of the general area to come with a true valuation for a property is what I gambled on last year. So I picked up this property for $250,000. All right. My rehab budget there was $150,000. I'm all in at $400,000. The value back then for 4 families was roughly $450 to $550 max, because there are no comps that show anything higher than that. I was telling people from the very beginning that those are not comps that I'm basing my investment strategy on. I'm telling people this house is going to be worth $650,000 to $700,000. You know what everybody thought when I said that? People thought I was crazy. People always think that I'm crazy. Realtors think that I'm crazy and they doubt me. Brokers think that I'm crazy and they doubt me. Investors think that I'm crazy and they doubt me. And they laugh at me when I say this house is going to sell for X amount. And this is 6 months to a year before we even get to that point. And I'm able to predict in a lot of ways how the market is going to go and which direction it's going to go in. And I'm usually the one with the highest value in any particular market that I invest in. I have the highest comps because I know how to renovate. I know what appraisers are looking for. I know exactly what to put in the properties. And I know how to push the hell out of the market. And I know how to massage the situation when the appraiser comes. I know how to speak to the appraiser. I know how to build a rapport with the appraiser. I understand how to present comps to an appraiser who 9 times out of 10 doesn't want your fucking comps. They don't want your comps. They know what they're doing. But I still have a way of talking to them and establishing a rapport and showing them, look, this is the direction that we're trying to go in here. This house has X, Y, Z. We don't have these type of comps in this area. You might have them over here. We don't have these over here, but this house is an outlier, and this house is in a neighborhood that really doesn't truly reflect its true value. So this house that's in this neighborhood that doesn't reflect its true value should be valued like this house over here. That's a lot more expensive. So it's an art to this. It's a science to this. And a lot of investors don't know how to do this. A lot of investors don't even show up at the appraisals because their realtors tell them, oh, you don't want to meet the appraiser. You don't want to piss them off. Listen, I'm there all the time. I meet the appraisers. I talk to the appraisers. I chop it up with them. I establish a rapport with them. And I help them understand my vision. And normally they see things the way that I see it and generally tend to come in with a number in the direction that I'm trying to get them to go in because I have a solid argument that makes sense. This isn't bribing an appraiser. This isn't trying to pay off anybody. This is showing them hard evidence and having them sway their beliefs in the direction that I need them to go into because what I'm saying is true and it's backed by facts. And it's just logical and it makes sense. So when I was telling people that this 4-family in Newark is going to be worth $700,000 plus when I'm done with it, everybody laughed at me. Everybody was scoffing behind my back saying, you're bugging. It's not going to be worth that. Nothing sold over $450. Nothing sold over $500. And this is validation. I'm on Zillow the other night, and look what I run across. Many months later. So this is in Newark. This is an active listed 4-family, and look what they're selling it for. $759,000 $100,000. Okay? Now, this house says it's newly renovated in 2019. I'm looking at photos. These photos don't compare to the rehab that I'm doing at my property. So I'm very glad that they're aggressive in their listing and they're pushing the market, or trying to, because guess what? When that sells, if it sells even somewhere shy of that 759 mark, if it sells anywhere in the sevens, I win. Because now that's a new comp for me that I get to piggyback off of. So kudos to this investor or these realtors or whoever was behind this, because they understand how to push the damn market. You have to push, especially in a climate like this, especially with inventory being as low as it is and demand being as high as it is. You have to know how to push the market. So they pushed it for me. Now, when I'm ready to list my property in a few more weeks, guess what I'm coming on at? I'm not going to push it as high as they pushed it. I'm not going above 759, but I'm probably going to come on the market at 749. I think that's a realistic number. I was assuming a year ago it was going to be worth 700. There wasn't anything near 700 a year ago. But look, now we have properties that are being listed at 760. And when they sell, they become comps for me, and it makes my life a whole lot easier. So my whole thing is study the market, get an understanding of values in your area, and this is for investors, this is for realtors, this is for brokers. You guys have to understand the way the market is going. I'm fortunate that I have realtors that I work with and brokers that I work with that understand me, understand the way my brain works, and they give me free reign when it comes to working with me, because I tell them, look, we're going to list it at this. And even some of them laugh at me. You know, it's our little friendly little thing behind the scenes, and I'm always pushing it. And as construction is going, I'm like, yo, we going to be at 600. And then 2 months later, we going to be at 650. 650? I'm like, no, you know what? 700. We're going to push it to 700. And that's where I was at. Now, I'm pushing it to 750. Thanks to this special investor who just listed it at 760. Absolutely love him or her, whoever they are, love them. Because now I get to piggyback, and my comp or my listing doesn't look so crazy when I throw it out there for 750. So this is just a little behind the scenes on how you have to evaluate the market, how you have to understand the game. You have to study this stuff. You have to study. I'm up at 3 a.m. studying this the other night. 3 a.m, 4 a.m. Like, my brain is constantly on go when it comes to real estate. So the higher my appraisal comes in, whether I decide to sell this property or whether I decide to refinance it, I need the highest possible appraisal. That's why I'm doing the kind of finishes that I'm doing in my property. It's not because I want to overdo it or I'm trying to like outshine everybody else. I'm doing this for the appraiser. The only person that matters in my mix right now is the appraiser, because he is going to make or break how much money I get in my pocket. So I'm doing this for the appraiser. I'm putting marble in the foyer of this 4-family so I can have that wow factor when it comes to the appraiser. So when the appraiser walks in, he's like, wow, they really did this one. And he gives me the value that I need. He gives me the value that I need. I get more money in my pocket, whether I'm selling it or whether I'm refinancing it. And I'll discuss refinance options with you guys to kind of break that down. I won't touch on it now, but I just wanted to just share that with you guys and let you guys know that you have to learn how to follow the market. You have to be bold in your predictions, but be able to back your theory with facts and make it be logical. All right? So I just understood what was going on. I saw what was happening with COVID. I saw what was happening with the market and inventory drying up. I saw that it was a shortage of supply and a huge amount of demand. And I projected and I predicted that the numbers would be what they are a year ago. And people behind the scenes that know me, when I bought this property, they can vouch and say that I was always saying this was going to be in the 700s. So just wanted to check in with you guys, let you guys know, be bold, study the market, do your homework, and let's get to this money. I'll talk to you guys later.